The amount of PD usage all over the world has been increasing massively, and a lot of people believe that the reason for this is social media. And while social media can be one of the reasons why PD usage has been increasing massively, especially amongst the younger generation, there is a much deeper sentiment, or there's a much deeper issue to be addressed here. First of all, there are different schools of people or different influencers when it comes to PD usage. Mainly there's two, alright? One who is very aware of the wrong effects of PD usage and still use PEDs, and the other school who just don't care about the long-term effects of PD damage. Just like hulk out and they're like, PEDs, good PEDs. Obviously, it's pretty easy to look at the people who don't care about long-term effects of the PD usage and look at them and be like, gee, bad boy. There is a lot of peer pressure on how to look on social media. One is the looks maxing community, where people are literally smashing their face with a hammer or smashing their face, calling it bone smashing. And then all of this is like massively onset because of the usage of AI. It's just fascinating that a large chunk of population can't see that there is AI, and they just put that emoji and they're like, inspiration, motivation, boo. It's sad. Honestly, it's very sad. And in a way, I feel like the reason is people think that the usage of PDs is the only way to get any success in like the fitness niche or the fitness influencer community, which is honestly not true. I think if you're a natural, you will still have some semblance in the fitness community, but it's just gonna take a really long time. But my argument is, if it takes a really long time for you to build a community, that means you're going to be building a strong community and not one of randoms on the internet, while maintaining good health, while having a good physique, while not taking PEDs, which for all general purposes reduce your health span, literally damage your internal organs, directly affects your testosterone if you're a guy, directly affects your reproductive system if you're a guy. Why would you take PEDs? You don't have kids? Again, at the end of the day, I'm not here to offend any person who takes PEDs. If you're taking PEDs, all power to you, your body, your choice. But I just feel like there is a lot of peer pressure from the internet that is directed towards the people of the younger generation, and there are obviously positive influences online in the gym niche. Daddy Newell, for example, promotes a very healthy way of lifting, healthy way of living, and being a better person in general. It feels bad that there are a lot of people who are just disavowed from the fact that, hey, if I want to have any semblance of success, PD usage is the way, which is so wrong to think about. Obviously, if you're someone who's like competing at the highest level and you're like top of the top, like freaking C-Bomb and like Ronnie Coleman and stuff, and that if you're like reaching to that level, I mean, like there has to be some sort of genetic indicator until you reach there where you're like, okay, I have some sort of genetic indicator where I can take this forward. I mean, in that case, it still doesn't make sense in my mind, but if it makes sense for you, all power to you, as a guess. But in order for you to reach that level, you probably have to be in the top 1% of the human population. And considering that there are 8 billion people in the human world right now, 1% of that is 8 million people. And considering you're in a developed country where there is an active environment where people actively support these choices and the people around you are into bodybuilding, that percentage falls even lower. To claim that everybody has genetics for bodybuilding, or at least like competitive bodybuilding, that is just not true, alright? Like the 99% of the people will never achieve a physique something like C-Bomb or Ronnie Coleman. And that's why you see all these natural lifters, something like Will Tennyson, Jeff Nippard, and Jesse James. All these people don't just do content based on fitness. They branch out into like different niches, because there are a lot of people who just work out for a hobby and then they hop on social media and they are unaware of like different lighting techniques and different angles, and sometimes very apparent PED usage. The golden rule of thumb to know whether if somebody is using PEDs or not is to check their shoulders. The shoulders of a human body have a lot of androgen receptors, and basically PEDs are very sensitive to these receptors, and that's why you see like these swollen up shoulders, almost like freaking globes on the side of your shoulders. If somebody has that, it is pretty apparent. There is a very high likelihood that this person is on PEDs. Again, I'm someone who's like been lifting for a while. I look pretty average. I don't consider myself like a gym enthusiast. I'm at the max gym hobbyists. 99% of the people who have used PEDs and have hopped out of the cycle have the same popular sentiment. One of my favorite influencers, James Smith, also had the same opinion. Like, it is just not worth it. Again, people who hop on PEDs once, it just becomes really hard for them to hop off, because the popular sentiment is you hop onto PEDs, you reach a certain physique, and now you push the goalpost a bit front. You're like, I want a better physique. And now once you push the goalpost front, you're like, okay, now that the goalpost is front, I want to have a much more better physique. And in order to have a much more better physique, I need to blast much more PEDs. And in order to blast much more PEDs, I have to put my body at a much more greater risk of literally heart failure and like other plethora of diseases that are out there that come with the use of PEDs. Not diseases per se, but it's more like health ailments. So if there's one thing that you have to take away from this, is social media is going to be flooded with people actively using PEDs, because it's in their best interest to do so. It is not the social media company's fault, it's the people's fault. We are evolutionarily wired to see like extreme stuff and extreme content. Whenever we see like any extreme content, our brains immediately gets alert, and that's why it's really easy to like rage bait people online. Once you post some rage bait content out there, just see the amount of people that come on to like defend their opinion. It's just so freaking easy to play humans. So don't get played is what I'm trying to say through this video. Mr. Beast talks about this. He talks about like the purple cow effect, where if you're going through a highway, you see a bunch of cows, nothing out of the ordinary. But then if you see a purple cow, you just stand, you take a picture, you post it on social media, and you're just like create this whole hoopla about there being a purple cow. And that's the same thing with like people who use PEDs. They have these extreme physiques with like almost zero waists and like freaking 10-inch wide frames. It's just absolutely bonkers. And every time you come across this in your feed, you stop, you stare, and you interact with their content. And that's why it sort of incentivizes them to blasting more gear. If you're on your fitness journey, if you go to the gym regularly, something like 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight, that's the amount of protein that you need. So if you're someone who's like 70 kgs, golden rule of thumb, 2 times your body weight is the amount of grams of protein that you need. So if you're something like 70 kgs, anything from 140 to 150 grams of protein per day is good. And if you're not getting that, don't need to stress about it that much. Yes, you will not see the progress that you will have if you have received that amount of protein, but at the end of the day, just don't put yourself out there with people who have perfect lighting, perfect genetics, using PEDs and all blasting chemicals that you haven't even heard of. Don't compare yourself with these randos on the internet. Compare yourself with you from yesterday. That's the motivation for today. And make sure that you don't feel demotivated in your fitness journey when seeing all these people. I know it gets hard whenever you see that you are going to the gym every day, eating healthy, sleeping well, and you're making barely any progress. And then you see this random freaking 14-year-old who's blasting gear and like benching more than your entire family. It is hard to see that. And I'm honestly with you on that. But it's also sad to see like people who are at a very young and impressionable age, just like I saw a video of this person who's like freaking 14 years old or like 15 or 16 years old, who is very clearly blasting PEDs and like benching more than my freaking family's body weight. It is crazy that these people exist, and it's honestly sad that these people get peer pressured and incentivized by social media to do put themselves in harm's way and just have this ever glooming sense of, if I don't take PEDs, I'm not gonna achieve my dream physique, and if I don't achieve my dream physique, I will not be successful. If I don't be successful in 2026, why even exist? It's honestly sad. But if you're someone out there who's set on your gym path, please be there. Stick to it. It's gonna take at least 3.5 years for you to achieve like a semblance of your dream physique. And if you're a natural lifter, bro, God bless you to look like a person who lifts outside the gym. There is no way you're gonna look like a person who lifts outside the gym. Whenever I say people that I lift, they just laugh at my face because they're like, bro, there's no way you lift, bro. It's just sad. It is sad beyond belief that people It is sad beyond belief that people think this way, and you spend all these years in the freaking gym and you're like, you lift? Really? You? But anyways, stay natty, don't do drugs, stay safe out there in the big bad world. Do not let the internet discourage you. That's it. Bye.